Hello, what is up, YouTube? How are you guys doing today? Today we are redoing a video because the original upload got corrupted and a whole bunch of shit happened. But yeah, so today we are going to be covering Alvida, Iron Mace Alvida from One Piece. Alright, so a little overview on Iron Mace Alvida. She is the former captain of the Alvida Pirates and the first antagonist encountered by Luffy on his journey after going to sea. Due to her actions, she can be regarded as the secondary antagonist of the Romance Dawn arc and the tertiary antagonist of the Logtown arc. After her defeat against Luffy, she allies with Buggy and becomes one of the two captains of the Buggy and Alvida alliance. She's the acting captain of the crew during Buggy's time in Impel Down and during the Summit War of Marineford. After reuniting with Buggy, his army of Impel Down convicts, and Galdino, who is Mr. 3, and after Buggy becomes a warlord, her alliance with him has evolved into the underground organization known as Buggy's Delivery, and once again evolved into the Cross Guild in later times. Alright, we're gonna start off with her appearance. So originally, Alvida was gross. Tall, fat, gross, round, roly-poly, disgusting, drawn and made to be gross. Like, that is the point. She was meant to be gross. She was tall, very obese woman with long, black, wavy hair. She had a fascination. I wouldn't say fascination. That's probably not the wrong word. Obsession is the better word. With having people tell her that she was the most beautiful woman in all of the seas. She would not like destroy. That's another bad word. She would abuse. That's a good word. Abuse her crew, physically. If they did not call her the most beautiful woman in the seas quickly enough. She had still has a habit of smacking people with her iron mace, which is where she gets her name, Iron Mace Alvida. But yeah, she had a cowboy hat as well, which was comical on her body, when she was like fat and gross. However, after eating her devil fruit, which is the smooth fruit, which caused all of the fat in her body to slip right off of her because obviously that's how physics works. But yeah, all of the fat slipped off of her body, leaving her very attractive. Like actually being able to make a claim to the most attractive woman in the world. I think she's one of the 3 people we see make that claim, or we have had that. So she makes the claim that she's the most beautiful woman in the world. People say that the Mermaid Princess is the most beautiful woman in the world, and then people say that Boa Hancock is the most beautiful woman in the world. So she's up there in terms of attractiveness in the show. But after she gets slimmed down due to her devil fruit, she becomes a very attractive woman. The cowboy hat, in my opinion, at that point, works very, very well. But yeah, that's kind of what she looks like. Alright, so moving into her personality, part of her personality is that she sees herself as the most beautiful woman in the world. That is an integral part of who she is and how she acts. She also does not like noise and dirty things, to the point where she had her entire crew clean the deck of her ship, to the point where if there was a speck of dust, she would like murk somebody with her iron mace. She does not like risking her life against overwhelming odds or risking her life in general. She would rather send her subordinates to do that. She can be very foreboding to men, especially her subordinates, and when pushed to the limit, she can be incredibly cruel. She is not afraid to put her foot down. Sorry, I had to cut there because there was noise going on in the background. She is not afraid to put her foot down and speak her mind. But yeah, that's essentially her personality. She thinks she's the most beautiful woman in the world. She's, I guess strong-willed would be a way to put it. Not afraid to put her foot down. Very cruel when pushed. Foreboding against men, especially her subordinates. Hates, noise, filth, and laziness. Alright, now we move into Alvida's relationships. Not a whole lot, is written about her relationships. There's really only three groups that are talked about: the Buggy Pirates, Monkey D. Luffy, and Kobe. So her involvement with the Buggy pirates, she joins up with Buggy in the Logtown arc because they are hunting for Luffy. They are both hunting for Luffy. Yeah, so however, she did not, so while they were working together, she did not tolerate, like, she tolerated Buggy, but did not like his attitude, didn't like his noisiness, his uncleanliness, his language. Essentially only tolerated him and stuck with him because they had a similar goal, which was hunting Monkey D. Luffy. Different goals, I think. I think she wanted him because she is in love with him, and Buggy wants him because Buggy wants to murder him. But yeah, that was essentially why they originally got together. And then she continues to stay with him for a multitude of reasons. One of the multitude of reasons she sticks with Buggy is because his crew ends up serving her when she's in prison. So why would she give up a willing and able crew, right? Like, doesn't make a lot of sense. After becoming Warlord of the Sea, after Buggy becomes Warlord of the Sea, Alvida becomes a member of his pirate dispatch organization, placing her very high up. After Buggy was beaten by Crocodile and Dracula Mihawk for accidentally taking leadership of the Cross Guild, Alvida kind of just let it happen, right? Her and the entire upper echelon of Buggy's delivery service were just partying, drinking, having a good time, while Crocodile and Mihawk were giving the absolute beat down on Buggy for doing Buggy things. But yeah, I think that perfectly sums up her relationship with Buggy, right? She's willing to be with him, work with him, kind of like be in the same crew with him and all of that. But she will not go out of her way to help him in any way, shape, or form, right? He's getting murked by two of the strongest, and I wouldn't say Crocodile might be considered one of the strongest people in the show, maybe. Very strong. Okay, two very strong people are murking Buggy, and she's just like, whatever, let it happen. So now moving on to her enemies. Monkey D. Luffy is the first man to ever defeat her, and I think the first man to ever seriously punch her. Right? Obviously, she's a pirate. She's been in fights before, I would assume. So I would have to think that she's been hit before, but never been hit hard enough to be sent flying into the sun. Because that's what Luffy did. Luffy hits her so hard, sends her flying. But yeah, she falls in love with him because of that. It's less like Boa Hancock's schoolgirl-like crush and more of like an admiration type love. She's like very impressed by him, I think. And that's why she's in love with him. She showed a little sadness, remorse, disappointment. My vocabulary is not on today. She showed a little disappointment when Buggy tried to kill him in Logtown, but ultimately didn't stop it. So that's the extent of her relationship with Luffy and Kobe. She means more to Kobe than Kobe means to her. Yeah. So she is Kobe's prime enemy, right? Enemy number one for Kobe is Alvida. I think Kobe, like, one of his dreams is to catch, or not one of his dreams. His dream is to catch evil pirates for the, like, he wants to be an admiral in the Marines, and he wants to catch pirates. And one of the main reasons he wants to do that is because of Alvida. So he is not, even now in current times in the manga, he still has not forgotten the treatment she put him through, and he will one day come back and capture her and send her to jail. Alrighty, so I'm gonna wrap this video up by talking about her abilities and powers. So she's from the East Blue, and we know that the East Blue is the weakest out of the four seas, meaning she cannot be that strong, right? For the literal first antagonist we ever see in the entire show, she's more of like a show off how strong Luffy is, right? But she is, for normal people in the East Blue, mildly formidable, right? She was able to form her own crew. She has a bounty. I believe has to be like somewhere. It's got definitely under 20. I want to say somewhere in the $10 million range is her bounty. Let me actually just look that up specifically really quick so I can tell you guys what her bounty is. 5 million. Yeah. The $10 million range. So mildly formidable in the East Blue. 5 million bounty, 5 million berries in the East Blue is decent. Obviously it's not the upper end. We've got people like Arlong in the 20s. Luffy's first bounty was 30. But yeah, but I mean she did have her own crew. She did beat people, she did, pirate things. So she's at least, decent. She is a decently strong. I'm not going to say incredibly strong, because, I feel like saying incredibly strong implies people like Whitebeard and Kaido, who can, destroy mountains with punches and shit. But she can swing a very heavy iron mace one-handed without getting tired for, for a good amount of time. So yeah, that is her main weapon of choice, is an iron mace. Kind of like Kaido's. I would say kind of like Kaido's. In terms of like shape and what it looks like. Size, weight, what they can do with it, very different capabilities. She just hits people. Kaido can imbue conquerors, haki, yada yada yada. We're talking about Alvida. But yeah, so she uses her iron mace to just beat the living shit out of people. She also has a flintlock, and she is skilled enough with that flintlock to scare off big animals with single shots. She does use her devil fruit to fight, less in actual attacks and more for defense. Her devil fruit is the slip fruit, meaning things will slip off of her. We see an example of this, when in the Logtown arc, a fountain gets exploded out of the ground and gets sent hurtling towards her, and it just slips right off of her skin because it's so smooth. So we see her use it for like defense in that sense, and we also see her use it for mobility. Her crew, or Buggy's crew, created like a ramp or something. She took her shoes off, jumped, and slipped down the ramp, and she was so smooth she just kept like skating. Kind like the motion she made in the anime and manga was like an ice skating, roller skating motion, but she's slipping all on the ground, which is how she's moving very quickly. But yeah, that is essentially the extent of her abilities and powers. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today, and watching to the end of the video. Oh my god, my throat's killing me right now. Please like and subscribe, ring the bell. It means the world to me every single time you guys do. And as well, it helps, get me out there as a growing YouTuber. But yeah, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. And as always, I will see you in the next one. Peace.